up in the mountains, my friends, where you can still watch an eagle soar on the wind. And I walk those hills with a smile on my face, and I can't get back to God's saving grace in the mountains.
Welcome back to our Hill to Die On podcast. I am your host, Chase Down. And this is what's going on in Forest Hill for the week of January 7th through the 13th, 2026. Haven't seen you guys since last year. Typical dad joke, I know. But it was a good New Year's. I hope everybody had a good time, as I did. Hope everybody enjoyed themselves. I hope nobody got arrested. I hope everybody stayed safe. You might have woke up with a hangover. Not me, of course, because I'm impervious to such things. Not true. Not true whatsoever. I think once you hit 30 years old, you start feeling them. Once you hit 40, you just, if you haven't been hanging on, you just quit doing it. Well, I did stay up, though. I did stay up till like 1 o'clock in the morning. So, I know, I'm a wild man. I'm a wildcatter. Go-getter, you know. S.O.B. Right down to the letter. Shout out to Gary Allen. There you go. Anyway, just saying, it was a good time. But without further ado, here is this week's Caballo Gallo weather report. Thanks, Nader. So, ladies and gentlemen, Nader sends us another good one here. It says, the week's going to start off wet and cold, then dries out and starts warming back up. So, well, not start out. Heck, it's midweek already. So, Wednesday, Thursday, we got rain. Friday, Saturday starts to clear out. And then we're clear all the way through the foreseeable future. So, starting about Sunday, we're going to be doing good burning weather. Everybody, hope you've been covering your leaves, because wet leaves don't burn. Trust me, Facebook posts tell it all. Make them dry, folks. They burn better. Hot fire burns better. Plus, when you burn a hot fire, you get a hot fire going. Yeah, there's no smoke. Nobody cares. You can burn a shit ton. Get your neighbor's stuff. Burn it, too. Makes it happen. So, yeah. Rain. Wednesday. Rain. Thursday. Friday. Sunshine. Saturday. Sunshine. Sunday. Sunshine. Monday. Sunshine. Tuesday. Sunshine. Typical January. Just like last January. Well, this is when we hit our, 20-day dry streak. So, yeah. It's a good one, folks. That's all I got. That is your Caballo Gallo weather report. All right, folks, jumping right into it. First, we're going to start off on Wednesday. We got the LSM food distribution from 2:15 to 5 p.m. Then, hey, Mountain Club's back. Mountain Club is back, and they got bingo at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. And then, also on Wednesday, big birthday shout out to Megan Thompson. Happy birthday, you silly goose. Then, we're going right into Thursday. Workout with Corey. Yeah, Corey Nix. Cardio. Then I think I don't know if they got story time or not. I think they do. At 10:30 at the library. Then Mountain Club. Look at you go. Starting off 2 in the row. Karaoke. Sing a little blue suede shoes. Nah, I wouldn't sing that for karaoke. By God. Shouldn't have sang that just now. That was terrible. Anyway, hey, if you want to sing karaoke, though, it doesn't matter how bad you are. You just heard me on a podcast on the internet. Go to the Mountain Club. People got drinks. They think you sound great. Because you do sound great. That's right. Also, Thursday, happy birthday shout out to Rory Earhart. Happy birthday to you, sir. Hope 2026 is treating you well. And Friday, Nothing going on Friday. Nothing. Not a darn thing. That's wild. Well, because it's a new year, everybody's hung over from the holidays. God, don't you wish it was still the holidays? I love Christmas. Love the new year. But now we start that long, slow trudge towards it again. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, here is this week's Outdoor Report. Folks, this week's Outdoor Report, there's not a whole lot to report on the outdoors. There's not a whole lot of hunting seasons going on besides duck season. We don't live in the valley. I'm not a rice farmer. So therefore, I don't know anybody that does duck hunt. But if you do duck hunt, post a picture. I like to see it. I like to see a couple, mallards laying out, little green-headed bastards. Just, that's usually that's what they look like, right? Just a dead, or which I should put the crosses over my eyes like they did in the cartoons. Duck Hunter. Duck Hunter was a good one. But another thing caught my attention this week as I was looking through Facebook, looking for ideas to talk about. And by God, wouldn't you know it, there's people lighting off fireworks on New Year's Eve. Now, I know fireworks are illegal in California, and the big booms and stuff like that can scare the hell out of dogs and people alike. But sometimes, folks, people just got to let loose, and you got to give them a little bit of grace. Now, if they did it every night of the week, I could understand being a little upset. But it was New Year's, for God's sake. People are shooting off guns. Now, I wouldn't recommend shooting off a gun in the air. And it is still America, so you can still shoot off a gun. What's the difference with a firework on a rainy night? I just don't get it. But neither here nor there for me to say. I'm just saying, give yourself a little bit of grace. I do like seeing a good firework every now and then. Not going to lie. I do. It's true. It's been known. So that's all I'm saying, folks. And without further ado, if you don't like fireworks, or hell, if you do like fireworks, maybe you should follow Andy on this week's Where's Andy? Well, folks, I take it all back. Turns out, Andy has in fact left the house. We've now received photo evidence of Andy out snow wheeling in his new fun little beater, which is reassuring because I was genuinely starting to worry about him. Snow on the ground, tires aired down, and doors open. And Andy's just standing there like he's just rediscovered happiness. That's the Andy we all know, so clearly the GoFundMe is canceled. Andy doesn't need gas money. He just needed a little bit of snow. And I'm glad to see him adventuring again because for a minute there, it was looking like hot chicken and weather warnings were going to be his whole personality. But now that he's back out in the woods, it's game on. Andy's mobile, Andy's motivated, and Andy's once again doing things the rest of us will be hearing about for the next 3 weeks. And that is Where's Andy for this week. So, folks, to light or not to light, but don't do it. They're illegal. I'm just saying. But I got to say, I don't mind watching them. Just saying. And actually, to be totally honest, if there's going to be a time of year that California should do a fireworks show, probably on New Year's Eve. That would be the place to do it. Just saying. Anyway, that's all I got for this week's Outdoor Report. So right back at it, folks. Right back at it, folks. Now we're moving on to Saturday. Oh, guess what? Working out with Corey Nix again, 8:30, Calvary Bible Assembly. because you're going to do some more cardio. That's right. Then, birthdays. Who we got? Oh, we do have some birthdays. We got Cheryl Reinhardt, Thomas Whitney, and Josh Byram. All celebrating birthdays on Saturday. Happy birthday to all of you. I hope you guys have a great day. Just saying. Then Sunday, hey, guess what? Dump's open. It's open from Friday to Monday, 8 to 5, taking lunch, 11:30 to noon, every day. Every day. Never stops. Never fails. Don't care if you're hungover or anything. It's there. Just so you know. Then, Mountain Club has a pool tournament, 4 p.m. on Sunday. Get there if you want to see the likes of Laura and Levi. I don't know if Levi's been to a pool tournament in a while. He's getting a little bit washed up, I think. Anyway. And also, big shout out to Mr. James Vigarino. That's right. Mr. Chamber Extraordinaire himself and dependable yard service expert has his big birthday on Sunday. Happy birthday, Mr. James. Then working on into, not working on into anything except for this week's Thoughts for the Shitter. You know, this week I found myself thinking about something that's been bothering a lot of people lately. And it's not really about politics, and it's not about one state. It's about accountability. Most folks heard about that massive fraud case out of Minnesota during COVID. Hundreds of millions of dollars meant to feed kids are gone. And every time something like that comes up, the reaction's always the same. How does that even happen? But the more important question is this. What kind of system allows it to happen without anyone being personally responsible? Because this wasn't about one bad actor or one corrupt official. State employees raised alarms. The numbers didn't add up. Some sites claimed to feed more kids than lived in the neighborhood, and the money still went out. Why? Because at that scale, responsibility gets blurry. Everyone's following guidance. No one owns the outcome. And that's where the disconnect starts. Out here in real life, everyday Americans don't get that luxury. If you're a small business owner, a contractor, a farmer, or just someone trying to make ends meet, you're expected to account for every penny. You miss a form, make a mistake, or miscalculate by a few dollars, there's real consequences. Audits, penalties, fees, sometimes even criminal charges. But when a massive bureaucracy loses hundreds of millions, or billions, the consequences are different. There's a report, there's a press conference, there's an investigation after the fact, and maybe a few people get charged years later. But the system itself, it keeps moving. The checks keep going out. The budgets keep growing. And no one ever has to personally explain where the money went. That imbalance is what people are reacting to. Because accountability in this country has become backwards. The closer you are to the money, the less responsibility you seem to carry for it. The farther away you are, the tighter the scrutiny gets. At a small scale, fraud is obvious. At a human scale, people notice when something's wrong. But at a federal scale, money becomes abstract. Responsibility diffuses, speed is rewarded, and prevention takes a back seat to cleanup. And once people see that pattern, trust starts to erode. Not because people don't want to help others, but because they're being asked to be perfect in a system that isn't. So that's the thought that stuck with me this week. A system that demands precision from individuals but excuses failure at scale is eventually going to lose trust at scale. And once trust is gone, no amount of policy can bring it back. Only accountability can. And ladies and gentlemen, that is just something to ponder while you're dropping them off down yonder. So now, working into Monday. Not a whole lot going on Monday, except for Jeff Woods. Big birthday shout out to you. John Wharton and Kalina Knutson all have birthdays on Monday. So happy birthday. Boy, I tell you what was 3 months from now? Boy, it's springtime. That's why freaking everybody starts, getting into the spring fever. Kids start getting born this time of year. This is a big birthday week here. A lot of people getting birthdays. Then getting into Tuesday, working out with Corey Nix again. Of course you are. And then Taco Tuesday down at Everybody Inn. Get down there and see Cynthia for them tacos. And big birthday shout out to my man, the lesbian hippie himself, Tyler Francis. Happy birthday to you, my friend. I hope it's a good one. I hope you have a great day. I hope your job is treating you well. And I hope your hair grows long again someday. It'd be amazing to see. I haven't even seen. Do you have a mustache? Send me a picture. I don't even know what you look like anymore. Tyler Francis. Good friend of mine. You know who Tyler Francis used to remind me of? Of course, he was a lot smaller and skinnier. Much more of a sissy than this week's Sasquatch. Well, folks, this week's Squatch is a grumpy old Squatch, but in the best possible way. The kind that's brutally honest, really funny if you appreciate our sarcastic dark humor, and grounded in a level of common sense that seems to be in short supply these days. He spent most of his life deep in the woods, extracting trees back when log trucks hauled just one log at a time, and the wood was soft and the men were hard. These days, he's usually seen hauling ass towards a destination not quite known to him or anywhere else, honking, yelling, "Get the hell out of the way, you ignorant fool," or maybe something a little more risky depending on traffic conditions. When he's not on the road, there's a good chance he's back in the woods, eyes on the ground, and always hunting for them morels. Because old habits die hard, and some Squatches never stop foraging. He may sound rough, and he definitely looks the part, but if you want to know how Forest Hill really used to be, or if you genuinely need a good helping hand, he's a Squatch to talk to. And if you ever had the pleasure of meeting him, if you're worth meeting, that is, you'll be glad you did. You don't know who I'm talking about, do you? I'm not going to tell you, but if you don't know, now you know. Folks, if you don't know that Sasquatch, well, by God, you just ain't been around long enough. Bit of a hint. Robert Francis, joke of the week, coming up right now. And this one goes like this. Here it says, so I called me an Uber the other day, and while I was sitting in the back, minding my own business, at one point I leaned forward and just tapped the driver on the shoulder to get his attention. Guy screams, jerks the wheel, goes all crazy, nearly runs us into a tree. As I was hanging on for dear life, I said, "Hey man, take it easy. A little jumpy, aren't you?" He takes a deep breath. "Sorry about that. It's my first day driving for Uber." I said, "Yeah, well, what did you used to do?" He just looked at me through the rearview mirror and says, "Well, I used to drive a hearse for 20 years. Folks, hope you had a good week. Hope you have a good weekend. And if you have a birthday this week, happy birthday. Fresh new year, new start, new me, new you. Hope you have a good one. And we'll be seeing you on the next one."
See you're out of aces for a taste of your whiskey. I'll give you some advice.